Right, so welcome to your 60-minute yin class. We are going to get started on our backs. So gently just come down onto your back and bring the feet about as wide as the mat and allow the knees to draw towards each other, tucking the shoulders down and away from the ears and resting your hands on your low belly, thumb to thumb and pointer finger to pointer finger, kind of forming a triangle on your low belly. Closing the eyes or keeping a soft gaze, begin to feel the lumbar spine rooting down into the mat and into the earth. Feel the 2 feet rooting down the back of the head. Taking a moment to settle onto your yoga mat for this practice. Allowing whatever has happened today to let it go. Whatever might come after this practice, let that go as well. Allow for the next 60 minutes to be a space and a time for you to get more connected with your body and your breath. Allowing for rest and relaxation through the body tissues, through the mind. Using the breath as an anchor for the mind. So when your mind wanders to thoughts or plans or to the events of your day, gently using the breath without judgment that you're having any thoughts. Just simply use the sensations of the breath to ground yourself back in the present moment. So some sensations of the breath that you may notice is the cool air when you inhale, the warmer air when you exhale. The subtle pause at the top of the breath, and the subtle pause at the bottom of the breath. Chest and belly full, chest and belly empty. Maybe the sounds of the air as it travels through your throat. And having the intention to listen to your own body's cues throughout this practice. So Yin Yoga is about
Finding a mild to moderate stretch in whatever area we're stretching. So on a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being no sensation, 10 being painful, you want to aim for about a 4, where you can feel a nice deep stretch, but it's not pulling, and it's enough of a stretch that you feel it deeply, but you can hold there for about 3 to 5 minutes. So keeping that in mind as you find your sweet spot of the stretch, that even if it feels good in that moment with the intensity, maybe coming out, starting a little bit out of the stretch and then working your way in as the fascia kind of softens and loosens. Just to get the maximum benefits of the practice. So using time, using gravity, using the props, all of these things kind of help find this moderate stretch that we can hold for a length of time, which will allow the fascia to release, moving nice and slow through the practice using the breath.
So a gentle and slow transition. Just begin to slowly heel toe your feet so that they come together, parallel about at the same line as your hips. Knees still point up. And then gently draw the left knee in towards the chest, hugging the knee in towards the belly and the chest. And then gently begin to lengthen the right leg long. Opening up through the right hip flexor here. And a couple of variations, you can draw the knee out a little bit kind of towards your left or hug it into the center. So there's a couple different variations. We're kind of just gently getting into the right hip flexor. It's not a very intense stretch, so you might not reach that 4 just yet. But just lengthening through that right leg, drawing the left knee in. Noticing the breath, the rise and the fall of the belly. Softening the space between your eyebrows and your jaw, your shoulders and your torso. One more breath here. And then we're going to slowly transition The right hand stays on that left knee, opening the left arm long like a T. Gently draw the left knee across the body towards the right side. Now you can use one of your props, whether it's a pillow under the knee if it doesn't come all the way to the floor, or a block. Any props that kind of help support the posture are always welcome. Allowing for the left shoulder to stay planted on the mat. So rooting down through that left shoulder and really only coming as far as that left shoulder doesn't start to lift too much. Gaze can be towards the ceiling or over to your left side, depending on what feels comfortable in your neck. And then wherever you land, try to settle into some stillness. Easy through the breath. Notice if you can soften into the stretch any amount. Maybe taking it a little bit deeper for the last minute or so of the stretch. Softening through the jaw, the muscles of the face. And then very gently, very slowly, begin to draw the knee back towards center. Hips kind of reorient. Hug the knee in for just a moment and then planting that left foot on the mat. Coming to reclined tree for just about a minute or so, just as a counter stretch, opening the left knee out to the side. Right leg stays long. Notice any tension through the upper body and see if you can relax any amount through the upper body. Allowing for an openness through the left inner thigh, the left groin, And then with minimal effort, by bringing your left hand on the outside of your left thigh, draw the left knee up through center. And then keeping the knee pointing up towards the sky, draw the right knee up to the sky by planting the right foot. Just spend a moment here feeling the lumbar spine rooting down evenly on both sides of the low back. And then we'll begin to transition to the other side. So drawing the right knee in. As the right knee hugs in, wrapping the hands or interlacing them around your shin bone comfortably. And then gently extend the left leg long onto the mat, creating space through the front of the right leg, or the left leg. Kind of gently stretching the left hip flexor. Soften through the muscles of the face, the jaw, and the shoulders. Notice if you're holding on to tension anywhere else in the body and gently let it go. Deeply breathing in and out. Noticing if you can draw the right knee in any closer or reposition in any way for the last minute or so of the stretch. Keeping your left hand on your right shin, begin to draw the right knee across the body, opening the right arm like a T, and the right knee goes across to the left. And if your knee doesn't come all the way to the ground, if it feels comfortable to just leave it kind of hanging, you're welcome to. But it might feel a little bit intense, so you can always put a block, a pillow, a folded up towel, in my case, a dog, just kind of resting underneath the knee, just for an added support so that you can stay. It makes the stretch a little bit more accessible. And then as time passes, if you feel like you can take it a little bit deeper, maybe you can just gently remove the prop from underneath your knee. Really opening up through the outer right hip as well as the lower back, as well as a gentle twist through the spine. Using the breath. Feeling rooted through that right shoulder. Noticing if you can take the posture any bit further for the last minute or so. Sometimes as time goes by, the fascia kind of loosens up enough to take it a step further, or sometimes it's best to just stay where you are, or maybe even back out a little bit. So just coming back to that intention of listening to the cues of your own body and honoring them. And then gently and slowly begin to draw the knee back through center, hugging it in for a moment, and then gently placing the right foot on the mat, finding an evenness through the hips. Place the left foot on the mat. Just kind of reorienting the hips back to neutral. And then grabbing a hold of your block alternative, or either a yoga block. It could be a like really densely folded up towel, even a thick book. Lots of alternatives. Even a hard pillow would even work. And also grabbing your strap alternative, so a belt, a long thin towel, anything like that. So rooting down through the heels and the feet, we're going to come to supported bridge. So tuck the pelvis and then gently lift the hips just enough to slide the block or block alternative underneath your lumbar spine. So supporting your tailbone, and you can adjust it in any way that's comfortable. Maybe drawing the shoulder blades together a little bit at the back to lift up through the heart. Keeping the right foot planted, we're going to gently slide the left leg long. So getting a little bit deeper into the hip flexor here, you'll find the stretch along the front of the leg and the hip. And then if it feels okay, you can take it on the other side. So listening to cues in your lower back of maybe surpassing your edge, and that's totally fine. You can just bring that right foot back to the mat. And I'll kind of cue when to switch if that's the case. If not, we'll keep both legs extended if that feels okay. Feeling a stretch through the low belly and into the fronts of the hips. Feeling supported by the prop. That is kind of giving a lift to your lumbar spine. Feeling the rise and the fall of the belly and the chest with the breath. Always a nice option to close your eyes when we settle into these postures in Yin. It helps to tune in more to your own body. And if you happen to have just one leg extended, gently draw the leg that's extended in and then extend the opposite one. So planting the foot of the first extended leg to extend the other one if you had just one extended. Notice where you can soften any amount, maybe through the feet and the ankles, the knees and the upper legs, the arms and the shoulders. And then gently and very slowly transition, planting one foot on the mat first, and then gently drawing the other foot in. Adjust the block however you need to. We're staying up on it, but just if it came kind of out of place at all, adjust it so that it's comfortable again. And then grabbing a hold of the strap or belt. Draw the right knee in towards the chest, enough to hook the strap on the arch of the right foot. Draw the hands down the strap so that your arms can relax, and then extend the heel up towards the sky. You can keep a soft bend in the knee here, just as long as you're kind of flexing through the foot to keep the stretch through the back of the leg and through the muscles of the leg. But a soft bend in the knee keeps the stretch out of the knee joint, because we don't want to stretch the knee joint too much. A little bit is okay, but the focus should be on the hamstring and the calf. Even maybe a little bit along the bottom at the sole of your foot. Relaxing the jaw and the shoulders. And even noticing if you can relax your hands any amount, although it's gripping the strap or block or belt or whatever you have as the alternative, Notice if you can kind of soften your grip to ease tension through your hands. Option to extend the left leg long. So lengthening through that left leg, kind of revisiting a similar stretch through the left hip flexor. If that feels too much, always an option to come back to planting the left foot on the mat. So listening to the cues of your own body and kind of listening to where you tense up. And if you're having a hard time softening those areas that have tensed up, it's a good indication that you've surpassed that moderate stretch. Deeply breathing in and out, allowing the rise and the fall of the lowest part of your belly. Taking the stretch any amount deeper. If the left leg is extended long, gently begin to plant that left foot on the mat. And then begin to bend into that right knee to release the strap from the arch of the foot. And then extend the leg without the strap for just a moment, just taking a moment to roll out the ankle here. A little bit of movement through the foot. Maybe flexing and bending the knee, or extending and flexing the knee rather. And then gently plant the right foot on the mat. Find a nice kind of evenness through the lumbar spine as you root down into the block. If you need to readjust in any way, feel free to do that. And then we're going to take a hold of the strap, bend the left knee in towards the chest, enough just to hook the strap into the arch of the left foot, and then extend that left foot up towards the sky. Flexing the toes towards the face. There can be a soft bend through the left knee. Lifting and extending the left heel up towards the sky. Begin to notice the breath. Notice sensations through the body and where you can soften. So softening the hands a little bit as they grip the strap or strap alternative. Softening through the shoulders and the jaw. And then if it feels okay and you want to take it a step further, bear in mind that each side can be really different. You can extend the right leg long and see how that feels before you decide whether you will hold it like this or draw the foot back in and plant it on the mat. Either way is fine. There's no wrong way. The goal is to find a posture that you can kind of relax into with a nice moderate stretch. Relaxing through the right foot, the right leg, whether it's planted or extended. Relaxing through the shoulders, the jaw, the space between the eyebrows. Noticing for the last few moments of the stretch, if there's anywhere that you want to take the stretch for the last few moments, whether it's more intensity, less intensity, a slight change in position. And then very slowly and gently begin to plant the right foot if you extended the right leg. Begin to bend into that left knee to release the strap. Releasing the left foot onto the mat, knees point up. Allow the tailbone to root down into the block. And then gently begin to tilt the pelvis to lift the hips just enough to remove the block and then release the lower back down onto the mat. Just spending a moment here without the block. Noticing sensations through the body. And then moving the hips to the right, we're gonna roll over onto the left side. Using the left arm as a pillow, just pausing for a moment here and draw the knees in as much as you can to create space through the lower back. And then using the right hand in front of the torso, lengthening through the right top leg, we're going to gently draw ourselves up to a seat. Coming to cross-legged, we're going to loosen the cross of our legs. So we'll start with the right shin in front of the left, but loose almost so that they're parallel. And then we're going to bring the pillow and even the block actually underneath the pillow. So kind of creating a little bit of a slope for yourself. And then drawing the shoulder blades together to begin, just to breathe deeply here into the chest. Gently begin to walk the hands on either side of the pillow and adjust the prop in any way so that you can rest your forehead down onto the pillow. Be mindful if your sits bones or hips are kind of lifting too far off the mat. You might want to adjust in a way that you can feel rooted through the hips, but at the same time get a nice stretch through the outer hips. Be mindful of the knees. If you start to feel this in your knees at all, you've probably come past your edge, so you may need to put some more support to not fold quite so deeply, or even create more space between your pelvis and your calf. So kind of loosening the cross of the legs even more. So just listening to these cues of your body and honoring them. Allowing the forehead to rest heavy on the mat or on the pillow. Slowly and gently begin to root down and walk the hands back towards the legs. As you rise up, shoulders come over the hips. Gently draw the knees up to the center, kind of keep them wider than the hips. Hands come to rest just behind you and draw the knees over to the right and then over to the left. One more time, over to the right. And one more time, over to the left. And then come back to center. This time, left leg is in front of the right. So same kind of lining up the legs, setting up your support just in front of your left shin. Draw the shoulder blades together at the back and just take a deep breath here, opening through the chest. And then slowly and gently begin to lower down. And then adjust the prop in any way
that supports your forehead resting down onto the pillow. There can be the natural curve through the spine. Keep imagining the hips drawing down towards the earth, really deep stretch through both hips. Softening into this posture any amount more for the last few moments. And then gently begin to root down through the hands as you walk the hands little by little, very gently and slowly back so that your shoulders come back over your hips, leaning back slightly with your hands for support. Feet come about a little bit wider than the hips, and you draw the knees over to the right, and then gently over to the left. One more time, over to the right. And again, over to the left. Come back through center, and we're gonna actually use the same prop setup. So a slight incline, but just orient it kind of the long way of the mat. We're coming into a reclined heart opener. So with the sacrum kind of at the pillow or bolster or whatever you have there, with the block propping it up at a little bit of an incline, gently begin to lower your spine onto the pillow. And if this feels at all too much for the lower back, you can bring the feet to the mat to kind of take a little bit of the pressure if the arch in the lower back is too intense. To open the heart space even more, you can draw the arms like a T. Draw the arms out even further, lifting up, drawing the shoulders down and away from the ears. Noticing the breath, relaxing through the muscles of the face and the shoulders. Breathing into the low belly.
Allow for a softening through the jaw, through the heart, through the mid belly, through the low belly. A gentle stretch through the arms, especially if they're kind of extended out like a T. Noticing if you can soften into this position anymore for the last few moments of this posture. Opening up through the heart space. Gently softening through the jaw. And then if your feet aren't already planted on the mat, begin to plant one foot and then plant the other. And then gently begin to roll yourself off to either side, off of the bolster, and then come up to a seat. Sitting up nice and tall, we'll move the prop setup out of the way. We'll take a brief passive forward fold, inhaling, reaching the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, hinge from the hips. Gently fold, and then allow your arms to rest by the sides of your legs as you release the head and the neck down towards the knees. It doesn't matter how deeply you fold. What matters is how much softness you can invite into the posture. So kind of passively softening into the stretch rather than pushing or pulling in any way. Allow for a release through the low back, the mid back, the upper back, the neck and the head as the chin draws closer to the chest. Deeply breathing in and out. And then very slowly and gently begin to roll up vertebra by vertebra. Low back, middle back, upper back, head and neck. Plant the feet and we'll keep going, gently lowering yourself down onto the flat mat behind you, gently and slowly lowering all the way down for your Shavasana. So extending the legs long and wide. The arms by your side, either opening up to the sky or grounding down towards the earth, whichever feels better. You can even rest the hand on your low belly, similar to how we started. Any other variation with your legs is welcome. Feel your whole back body grounding down towards the earth. All the places where the back of the body comes into contact with the mat. Feel the whole front body opening up towards the sky, heart lifting. Feeling and noticing the bottom half of the body from heels to hips. The top half of the body from hips to crown of head. Feel and notice the right half of the body. Feel and notice the left half of the body. And then bring awareness to where the two halves of the body meet in the middle. From root center, low belly, mid belly, heart center, throat center, third eye center between the eyebrows, up through to the crown of the head. Feel the whole body resting, heavy and still, easy with the breath for Shavasana. Gently begin to notice the breath. Inviting small movements back into the fingers and the toes as you deepen the breath even more. As you feel ready, begin to invite one knee in towards the chest and the other knee in towards the chest. Rocking from side to side, massaging out the low back. As you feel ready, gently draw yourself over to the right side, using the right arm as a pillow. Pausing for a moment here, drawing the knees a little bit closer to the belly and the chest, opening up even further through the low back. And then take your time as you gently press the left hand into the floor and draw yourself up to a seat.
As you arrive in a seat, crossing your legs, drawing the shoulder blades together at the back, opening up through the chest. Deeply inhale through the nose. Fully exhale. 2 more like that. Deeply inhale through the nose. Fully exhale through the mouth. Last one, deeply inhaling. Fully exhaling. Gathering the hands to heart center. May any goodness that comes from this yoga practice resonate out to all beings everywhere. Namaste.